Hello. We're going to get started in just a second. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Alckemy. Hi. Today we are going to be checking out my latest preset pack, which is called Glyphs. It is 92 presets, and I've included the drums from the Serum 2 masterclass inside of this. And so because of that, I wanted to tell everybody before we get started that if you've already purchased the Serum 2 drum masterclass, send me an email and I'll send you a discount. And then also, if you are an Ether member or above on YouTube, or if you are a subscription member for the music stuff on my website, then send me a message as well, and I'll give you another discount on top of that, just because I want to make sure that, I don't know, it's just good business. Yeah. So just as a, kind of icebreaker, if you're interested in this, then it's on alckemy.com. There's a link in the description. And it's $35. I honestly wanted to put it at $30, but because PayPal and Stripe charge me a fee every time someone uses a credit card, I get to use it as a tax write-off, but it also kind of stinks because, like instead of getting $35, I get like 32. So there's that. So anyways, I don't want to waste your time. We're just going to kind of blast through these presets. I kind of just want to give you an idea about what's going on. This pack is more of a tester, as it's the first Serum 2 pack that I put out, but I wanted to send a feeler out there and let everybody know kind of what's going on. There are, as I said, 92 presets on this. I've also included some other stuff that's pretty nice. So we've got 29 basses, 8 glitch / effects, 4 leads, 6 pads, 11 plucks, 4 kicks, 4 claps, 10 percussion generators, 9 snares, 2 vocoder drums, 36 wavetables, 5 goofy / other. I'll show you that in a second. And then 52 samples in C for granular stuff. So there's not a lot of granular patches in here. And that's just kind of because I didn't really want to make the same patch over again, but just with a different granular sample. I'd rather just make some samples that you can throw into a granular patch and then use the ones that I've made to be able to kind of get the different variations and stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of quickly show you some of the wavetables first, as these are kind of mostly just formants, and they're a great way to kind of start with some of the bases that I've included. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that first, and then I'll kind of just walk you through some of these. So these are under digitables, and they're nice and aggressive. And part of the reason why I actually like these a lot is because with just a little bit of distortion, as these are, as you can see, I can go here and pull this up. You can already use these as subs, which is really nice. So with just a little bit of pushing onto this, you know what I mean? You can get a pretty aggressive sound on these without having to do a whole lot. This is kind of nice because, I mean, all of these work for subs, and all you have to do is just do a little bit of post-processing, and maybe if you wanted to, you can add like some noise over the top or even filter it out. Very quick and easy access to the 808s and stuff. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the basses first, because I think that's going to be the most interesting. I only made one 808 patch, and I think that this pack only needed one 808 patch. So yeah, what this is basically is an 808 designer. How's the idea of making a demo tuner for the pack on stream if you haven't already? I honestly don't have the time, but this one is going to kind of just show you the pack and show you what's all available. The other thing is, like, I don't like doing demo packs because I don't want to give you an expectation of like, oh, I'm going to make music like that. I think that I just don't like it. I would rather go, here are the sounds, and not try to sell you on being able to make music like me, because I'm an individual and I'm somebody that has my own style. And you get what I'm saying? It feels, I don't like that marketing tactic personally. So yeah, we've got the hit over here on the macro. We have a filter here. And then the detail is just kind of some nice top end. So there's some verb, there's some distortion mix on here. Then there is some sustain. And then this is some texture that I've added onto this, which I think we need the detail for that. Yeah. Yeah, I understand, but that's just like my own personal philosophy and stuff. But you know, yeah, so you can change out the wavetables on this if you want, or, you know, get in here and add some of your noise and all that. But I wanted this to do two things. I wanted to serve as a good low ends, and then I also wanted this to have something that you can add on top if you wanted to make it something like a blast, or have like crunchy high end or something like that, you know. So yeah, a lot of these basses are kind of just like, I don't want to say one shots, but they're like growls or neuro stuff. And the big key to like getting the most out of these, as opposed to me setting up these macros, is honestly just making LFOs. So I mean, so get in here and just change the LFOs. Yeah, like some of these are sick. I think that these are really good starting points for like doing a little bit of post-processing on the outside. As much as I love Serum 2, and as much as I've tried to make these usable from the box, I still, just for 100% transparency, think like an OTT or maybe even a rack of multipass will just really take this to the next level. And I'll show you what I mean on a couple of these after I go through them. Yeah, so, you know, you can get in here and change some of these and just create different phrases. And that's part of the reason why I didn't really add a lot of macros on a lot of these, was because it's more about this than anything else, I'd say. So yeah, so we got bow. We got perc. This is more of like just a blaster. Yeah, that one's sick. This one is kind of just a typical like whoa, but you can, you know, definitely get in here and kind of design some more of this stuff. Yeah, like these sound awesome, man. I'm really happy with the way that these came out. So one thing that I included within this was this sample here. And within this, I wanted to kind of relay the idea that this can do some really cool stuff that is actually unique to this. Because if you have a phrase here, kind of like this, and you record a C, then what you can do is pull this back in here and turn this off. And you can kind of use this into getting into other textures and all that for fun. So you can change this into the granular if you wanted to. So we can kind of change the random placement of this, make the density kind of small. We can change this to a different grain shapes. And so by kind of combining this with these different items as well, you know, then there's lots that you can kind of do with it for fun. That's really fast. Okay, I might need to make this a little bit bigger. And then what's also cool is you can kind of just rinse this, you know, through other stuff, or you know, go back into the other filtering and all that, and you know, whatever. I think that the big thing with this is that just understanding that you can resample these either to a wavetable or to a sample or to a granular, or even, you know, to a spectral. So maybe you use this here and we keep the original sound. Let me turn this down because it's going to be crazy. You can get cool sounds like that, you know, just as a very introduction to this stuff. Yeah. Yo, Michael, thank you so much. Yeah, that one's sick. There's all you tear out guys. Hey, what's up, Michael? Thank you so much, dude. I've got quite a few of these like kind of Skrillexy basses. I hate saying that, but they're like the classic 2010 dubstep. So definitely some of those like nasally things in there. We made a hardstyle kick. Yeah, that one's awesome. Yeah. So this one's just kind of like a cool. This one's a little more subtle, but it's kind of resonant and kind of sick. The actually informative names. Yeah, this one is just sick. And I like that I've included some of these that are a little more subtle. Some of these are super aggressive, and so you can kind of find what's right for you. Good God. This one's kind of simple, but yeah. Yes, you're late. Then we have, I think this is the last one, but then we have a yomp. So yeah, that's it for the basses. Lots of sounds included in there. Let's go ahead and go to the glitch stuff. This is just a glitch maker. I think this is meant to be, yeah, just more for texture and stings. There's also, someone asked me to make an explosion. I was like, yeah, why not include it? So this one is cool because this one actually is reliant on the clip launcher here. This is kind of nice because it's like a HUD sound or something. I just thought that was super cool and I wanted to add that. So that's kind of why this is under like glitch/effects. I got some plinks. This is a re sound. I like this because like this is like some of those things that you can use for like cool textures over like, you know, a trap beat or something, you know, like you know, something like that. I think is a great sound for that. This is a simple glitch maker, so and I like this just because it's like random textures and stuff that you can actually use for stuff. Although, there we go. If you grab this patch, turn the mix back up. I think I made a small mistake on this. But that's what that's supposed to be doing. So. Then we have a stomp. We've got the wheel up sound. You can set this to retrigger if you want. And you can get that in. This one is 6, so we're into the leads now. I added some audio rate onto everything. Yeah, this one is just super cool. Yeah. We've got a foghorn. This is less so like a drum and bass foghorn and more of like a real foghorn. Which I thought was pretty cool. Got a whack guitar. I like this one a lot, actually. It just sounds all... It sounds like a broken bow, plucked instrument or something. Yeah, that's dope. So now we're into the goofy stuff, I think. Yeah, and so I wanted to include these because I kind of want to be able to show people like other ways of doing stuff inside of Serum that's kind of unconventional, if that makes sense. And so like this is really stupid, but it is really fun. And so what I did was I made a drum and bass a drop inside of Serum 2 using the drums and a couple of oscillators. So forgive me because this is very stupid, but I do think that it's cool in concept. So it just kind of goes to show that if you kind of have some cool stuff in here, then you can actually make like stupid, you know, actual ideas and like beat sketch, right? Because you can make like multi-samples in here. In the future, I I think that I found a website and stuff, but I do want to get into doing more multi-samples that I would like to release as packs, because it would be cool to like make a kit or make several presets that have drum kits in them that you can use the effects built in to do the processing with, but you need some kind of like file exporter in order to do that. And I'm looking into it. I just forget the name of what these are supposed to be called, and you can't just do it inside of Serum. I would love it if Serum or Steve updated that in the future to where you can actually create your own multi-sample within Serum too, but that's not the end of the world. So yeah, this is another stupid demo. Kind of same deal. Yeah. This is a cowbell. Yeah, I think it's SF2. For all you funk lovers. So this seems stupid at first, but this is actually something that I am really, really excited about with Serum 2. So something that you can do with this is if you have stems or like you're working on a track, actually, let me show you this one live. So we're going to spend a few minutes on this because I actually think that this is worth showing you. So let me open up a project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce out a couple of stems, and then we're going to throw this back into Serum, and I'm going to show you how you can start to get like really cool things off of. I think I made a video over this at some point or another, but once this turns on, I'll kind of walk you through what I mean. So I'll just play it from here. Cool. So now that you have an idea about what that is, I'm going to turn the sidechains off. And I'm going to hit 8 and pull up rolling sampler. And then I'm just going to record some of this. So. Dope. And we can do that. And now what I can do is go into the drums, turn this back on. And we've got 2 stems here. And so with this, we can actually pull this back into Serum, and I think it's this. Maybe it's at the end. Okay, so for one, we can toss this into a sampler and just drag that in. And then 2, we can throw this in here and set this into a sampler as well. And now within these 2 stems, and you can break this up however much you want, but we can right click this and go into slicing and into audio. And so now this will kind of be distributed across the keyboard. And we can go into the oscillator mapping here to oscillator A. And say, okay, we are going to make this from C3. And we can just turn this off. And then on oscillator B, we'll set this here. And so now within all this other stuff, right, we can move this out of the way, this out of the way, this out of the way. Right click, slicing into audio. So we've actually distributed this across the keyboard into 2 different sections, but that's where you can go back into the clip of what I was talking about from before and get into changing this and arranging and stuff. And so what I did with the other patch was I split that up in such a way that you're able to kind of remix or apply effects into, you know, with Serum, right? Which is super cool. So if we do this, make sure that this is loud enough. Is this on silent? Yeah. Right, so you can do something like that, and then we can hop into the other bass stuff. And then this needs to be mapped, of course, which I've already kind of gone and done. But within that, that's kind of what we're looking at. And so with this patch, I've kind of already made a template for you that kind of has everything ready to go. And so if we go into this with the track recycler, yo, big, love that Reese sound, wicked and full of vibe. Yo, thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. This stuff is already mapped for you, and I think that this was just a track that I pulled in, but yeah, you can get in here and just start to like mangle and destroy stuff on this. And in the same way with this track recycler, you can kind of remix this. The one thing with this is that you want it to open up the oscillator mapping and look at how everything is kind of pulled out. But once you get into that and you open up the clip launcher here, then you can get in here and start to change the different drums or the different sounds, right? So there's a sub. Different sounds that are linked on here, and like I said, it's kind of all mapped across the keyboard, and then you can just get in here and like, you know, go crazy with effects. So I think that this is something that while it's still, I label this as a concept, there's a lot of potential here for using this as a full picture or full spectrum resampling tool. And I just wanted to give you a patch like this to give you an idea about how to do it, just because I'd like to see what other people can do with this. And yeah, what can you say? So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing that I included. This is another weird cowbell. I really like these kinds of sounds, especially if you use them as just like a thing that's like, you know, or something like that that kind of pitches up or down over time. I love reverbed percussive sounds. So yeah, now we can look at some pads. Come on, like, yeah. Don't need to say anything else. This one is pad 2, so this is a resample of pad 1 with different textures and timbres. Love it, man. Love it. Nice. So this one is a quick granular setup, and if you recall at the beginning of the stream, I said that I've included a bunch of samples inside of C. And so with this, there's kind of an ecosystem that I've built here as well, even though it's relatively simple. But we can go into this and actually go into the sample pack rather. And I'm going to have this pulled up over to the side, but if you look here, I've got this into a different thing, which is granular samples in C. Oh, sorry, it's on my desktop. So you can go to drums, bass, plucks. Where are the samples? Copyright. I might need to update that. Oh crap. Okay, so I need to update that within the product page, but they're here. They're just in this, and so I'll update that. And then if somebody has already purchased this, then let me know, and then I'll get this in here very quickly, or I'll update that as soon as we're done on stream. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sorry. But we can just go in here and put another one in here. But within this, there's already a ton of variety on here that earlier today, Cora earlier today burned the meaning of the word ecosystem out of my mind. Okay. That one is so cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there that you can utilize. So we can also try this one, which you can go here. I forget that you can't. Oh, you can. Okay. So yeah, just get in there, and like all of these are in C. And that's kind of why I didn't make a bunch of different granular patches. I'd rather just have like a bunch of cool timbres that are samples and then be like, here, just swap these out and then play with the patch itself. But you see how much variety is already within this? Like, yeah, it's all through reverb or whatever, but changing the sample out and having a nice selection of these is kind of like, I don't want to say more patches, but I'm kind of iffy when it comes into granular shit. Like, unless if it's very different and like has completely crazy sounds or whatever, it all kind of has a very similar vibe, especially with how I use it. So I'd rather just giving you a sample bank to choose from, and then you can also do this, which is kind of cool. You can go here and then go to resample into this, and now you can start to get even more different textures and timbres through this. Which is, you know, it is quiet. But this is an endless cycle of musicality and musical instruments. And like, to me, this is all you really need. This is Spacey. I think that I left a scale on this, which is F Phrygian. You can turn this off if you want. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that there's a bunch of randomization on here. So sometimes you're going to get pads, sometimes you're going to get some other stuff. I'm glad that I read my own description, but there's also, oh, that's why I did that. So we're going to turn this back on. And then we have some clips in here that we're going to launch. So sick. And Serum 2 is really good for creating sequences and stuff like this, which is super awesome, but yeah, very happy with how that one came out. Okay, so this one is incredibly important to me because I actually use this so much. This is kind of like a blueprint of how I go about creating, for one, the samples that I've made in C, but also getting like insane textures. And a lot of times you'll see me use a patch like this and pull Beam up because the stuff that you can get from it is just insane. But yeah, I've even said that this is more of a template. It's actually very simple. There's a couple of things on here that are randomized, but I think that this one has a clip as well. Yeah. So that one's awesome. Get in there and kind of start messing with it, change the wavetable position, all that. Love these patches. Beamer is another granular thing. I think that I might need to update that one too. So I'll go back and do that and save that into the preset bank. And like I said, if you've already purchased the pack and you're missing something, then just send me a message and I'll update it for you. But that's what happens when you're a one-man team and only have like this much time for quality control. Bell tolls. I'm like a huge fan of like really distorted bells and all that other stuff, and so change the wavetable on this. Sick. This one's kind of cool. It's kind of like a jungly sound to me. Yeah, I don't know. That one's just really cool to me. I really like that. This one's awesome as well. Sorry, dog is squeaking. But yeah, like I said, you can just replace some of these with all of this, so. You can also right click and normalize this. Spending way too much time on it, but yeah, still a really really fast and easy setup for something that I think sounds really awesome. Creamsicle. Yeah, nice. So this one is kind of like a pluck drop thing. Yeah, pretty cool. So this one, I wanted to show you with the clip launcher because something that you can do that's freaking awesome within the clip launcher is use this as a fugue machine. And so if you notice, the playhead is going from backward to forward. And so you can get some really sick, just like, this is so cool, man. You can get like Serum 2, like even though I think that it's lacking some of the stuff that like you need to finalize the sound, just the access of some of the creative tools that it provides is like really fun to use. So yeah, fugue machine, pretty sick. This is a granular factory maker, and so this was something that I used to make the C samples, and I wanted to provide the patch for you in case if you wanted to make your own stuff. But what this is just a setup to where every time I hit a key, let's say C, it's going to create a different timbre. So which is really awesome. You don't have to do anything. You can just hit C and bounce out a bunch of stuff. But if you want to get more into this, then I would suggest uploading some of those wavetables in here, you know, and get different stuff through this to kind of mix and match and have even more timbres to mess with for the granular sampler. I suppose you could play this as an instrument, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. I don't know why this says sad guitar. I think it was like 5 in the morning whenever I was finishing this, so my bad. Yeah, we've got a pluck. This is nice. This one is both a pad and a pluck. You got some verb. You got a formant shifter on here. Looks like I also have a clip in here. Yeah, cool. cool little format shifter, and then you can change the table, change the verb. I always have like a minor panic attack whenever this says table or like it says something, and then I'm like, wait, it's not, I don't see that, but yeah, this is moving that, so there's that. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. Simple melodic maker. This is another one of those things that will create a different timbre every time you hit a key. It's really nice. And then now we are going to get into the drums here, which, did I label it as DR? Oh, this is someone else's thing. That's not going to be included, but we have these Serum 2 drums and stuff within this that we can kind of take a look at. Although, yeah. So we've got a clap, another clap, another clap, and another clap. And we've got a kick, some other hats. And these are the drums that are included within the Serum 2 masterclass. So if you want tutorials on how to do those, then you can do that. And then again, if any of this stuff was interesting to you, or like, let's say you buy the Serum 2 masterclass, and then you're interested in the Serum thing, I'll give you a discount. I've left a link of how to do that in the description. But all of these drums, actually not all of them, but most of them were made within the drum masterclass, except for some of the percussive makers that I have in here. So stuff like this. Just cool little percussive makers. These sound great, dude. Yeah. And they're all different. Like, they all sound a little bit different to me. Sick. And so this one here is a percussive starter kit. And what this is meant to do is I just kind of have the template set up for you. So all you have to do is get in here and start adding effects into this, and make sure that this is at the end of your chain. So anything would go before this, and this will kind of help you turn stuff into a percussive maker and the like. Anytime I make something cool, I usually leave a template in case if people know how to do this already. So I think that it's just important to include stuff like that. This is the percussion tutorial. Yeah, there's like tons of percussive stuff in here. Like, these are, to me, like, these are some of the most valuable patches, because like if you need percussion for a track, you can literally just do this. Pull up rolling sampler and grab all of these. And find your favorite stuff. You know, say something like this. All of this needs to be over here. Move this out of the way. My projects are so messy. Sorry. But you can start to, you know, create percussive lines with this and get in here and start to, you know, do things like this. I need to be able to see the grid. Can change this into something else. So something like this, something like this. And grab these two. Wait, grab this and do that. Grab this and do that. Grab this and do that. And then change these to like repitch or something. Maybe make this late instead. And then, like, just with a little bit of effort, you know, you can start to create different rhythms and different timbres and stuff for percussion. Let's get one there. switch this sound out to something else. Give it a little bit of lateness. And you can just create your own percussive lines with it. And so, yeah, if you've ever seen my channel or anything like that, this is one of like the most invaluable things that I've ever created, were these percussion makers. Another kick. To me, all of these kicks, like they're all really good. Snare, rim shot. Rim shot 2. Kind of a resonant snare. Shaker. Another percussion thing. Another snare. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I love how metal this is. And I think that part of that comes from this. So you make a snare and then you resample it and you put it into here as a spectral thing. And then you can use that as like a metallic layer. And yeah, you can just, which is pretty nice. We can also, let me see where this is. I think that this one here. There we go. You can reduce the envelopes here, and that's why I didn't put them in the macros, because it's all kind of just dealing with this. Yeah. So we can modify some of the sounds here with something like that. Snare. This is another stomp. This is a textured rim. And then this is actually really cool. So this is a trick that I did for your virulence. I didn't use this patch per se, but what I want you to listen to in the background of some of this is some of the textured drums that we have. All the little like all that stuff that's in there is pretty much this trick. And so within this, what you do is you throw this in there and then you use a transient control and you make it really tight. And what happens is it kind of creates that really cool kind of like noisy shuffle thing that, you know, gives you that, which is really sick. Yeah, that's from the spectral thing. And that's one of the advantages to doing it with the spectral thing, is like it's going to sound kind of lasery / phasey. But yeah, here's another one. So I thought that was cool to include. Here's a wood sounding snare. Yeah, it just sounds kind of like a stick or something. And then I think that is all the patches, if I'm not mistaken. The drums, yeah, so that's all 92 patches. So with that, I think that I just kind of wanted to show you everything that this pack has to offer. If you couldn't tell, I put a ton of work into it, and there are a couple of mistakes which I'm going to update as soon as I hop off stream. But yeah, there's so much that's included within this that I think that with this, I have everything that I would personally need to make tracks. I also want to be 100% transparent that while I do spend a lot of time in synthesis, the majority of like my best sounds come from resampling and from doing external processing. And I think that this is more so a gateway to make that process easier, as opposed to, you know, oh, industry leading sounds. Because in my field and in my genre, like, that usually doesn't exist within a preset. There might be a one-off or something, or, you know, use it how you want to, of course. If it sounds good enough to you, like, by all means. But I'm going to do one more demo for you with a bass, and I'm going to show you how much of a difference this makes. So let me go into here. And also, if you have any of my other stuff from Phase Plant, yeah, processing is half the work, but I mean, this is still pretty close, and so it's not necessarily terrible. But let's say we take something like Rip and Tear, right? So right, like, it already sounds pretty cool. But if we were to throw something in here like multipass, and I'm just going to use this one because this is one of my favorites, the accidental growler. And then I'm going to add some fuse compressor over this, and maybe just an over. You see how much of a difference that makes? So this is the sound without it. Getting the high end in there. So, you know, I just kind of want to make that super transparent with you all about this. You don't have to have multipass, and you don't have to do external processing and stuff. I think that if you have access to even X4 Records, free OTT, you can throw another one on this, but it changes the nature of the patch itself. So as you can see, I've already got 3 compressors on here with 2 OTTs and then a master compressor to keep it from clipping. It still needs more. Still needs more. It sounds apocalyptic. Thanks, Matt. But there's tons of variation within that. And I don't know, maybe next time I might do something that's a little bit more focused on clips, for example, of like MIDI clips, and then maybe even effect tracks, if that's something that you all would be interested in. But like I said, this is the first pack that I'm releasing for Serum 2, and I just wanted it to be like a hodgepodge of everything that I would normally use to make in a track, which I know that I have used several of these. Yeah, I think that for their decree, I'm pretty sure that I used the spooky blueprint, which is on my latest EP. And actually, like, there's a ton of, now that I think about it, there's a lot of presets that I've used here in my own music, but I didn't want to show you, you know, like a demo song or whatever, because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's poor marketing tactics. Like, it might be effective as a means of, you know, instilling buyers' confidence, but I want you to be inspired by the sounds and think about how it's going to relate to your productions, as opposed to trying to sell you on like, this is going to make better music for you, because it's not. You know, this is just a toy box, I think, is the best way to describe it, you know. Plan to buy this later if you hop off. After you hop off, each sound kind of gives me a song idea. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So that's awesome. And also, again, I want to remind you, if you are a YouTube member that's Ether or above, send me a message and I'll send you a discount code. If you are a website member on alchemy.com for my music, because one of them is more for fandom and then one of them is for like the production learning stuff, but I'll also send you a discount. If you have already purchased the Serum 2 masterclass, I'll send you another discount. So I want to make sure that this is something that is affordable to everybody, and because I'm using the drums that I've made in the masterclass, I don't want people to feel like they're chinsed out. I think that the $35 asking price is something that I was even hesitant about, but again, because of both inflation and because I have to pay a fee every time somebody buys something, the extra $5 is covering that transaction fee. So I'm not making $35 off of this. I'll probably make 31 to 32. So does anybody have any questions about this? I appreciate that I've had a really big audience for this. I'm surprised. You know, I don't expect anybody to buy this. It's just more of a means of, here is something, here's a resource, and if it aligns with things that you like, then there you go. But yeah, anybody have anything or questions, comments, observations, wish lists, anything else of the sort? I'll give you 30 seconds to comply. I think that the value way outweighs the $35. I did the math, and it's a little bit more than 30 cents a preset. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Because it's 92, maybe it's like, yeah, I think it's a little bit more than 30 cents a preset. Maybe like 35 cents or something. So, you know, the difference though is that this is a digital product as opposed to, you know, a physical good, but that's kind of what we're looking at for this. Seems fair to me. Yeah. Well, I know that like times are hard right now, especially for people well, shit, everybody all over the world is suffering. And so, you know, I try to come at this from a place of gratitude that people are even interested in these sounds and that I'm lucky enough to have cultivated some skill to be like, I think I make some cool stuff. So just know that I don't take anybody for granted. Yeah, and I really appreciate any support that you all give to the channel because this is my job and I have a job because of you. So yeah. All right. So before anybody buys, wait about 10 minutes because I need to replace the file and make sure that I get the samples in there because I forgot that that's still on my desktop. It's going to take maybe 10 minutes. But after that, or if you've already purchased it, let me know on Discord or send me an email and I'll send you a folder. It's not a big deal. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and go update this now. But thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time and I hope that you at least had fun with me. Yeah, thank you. And if anybody has any questions, let me know in the comment section or send me a message on Discord. And sorry, one more thing before I go. If you do decide to purchase this pack, please, please, please leave me a review, an honest review of what you think of it in the comment section. It helps me, you know, with future packs for one. It also helps me figure out, you know, what you like and what you don't like. If you have anything that you want to see in the future with Serum or Faceplant or Bitwig or Ableton or Current, I think that's all the things that I have presets for. Yeah, let me know. Thanks everybody. I'll see you later. Bye.